Hola, buenos dias, mi amigos. So we're at Saturday. I wanted to share with you guys what popped up on my news feed this morning because I had the most far out vision. I can't even recollect what exactly was going on, what happened in full detail. I can't even explain. There's so many details. All I can really say is that I saw how it all goes down, and then I woke up with a panic attack. That's the thing that really sucks is sorry to use that word because that's kind of inappropriate, but it's just these anxiety attacks and panic attacks seem to intensify the more and more in depth I go in with with this information, with these gifts. And it's horrible, but I want to do it because it's helpful. So in my dream state, I was given the Akashic Records access. If you guys don't know what Akashic Records is, in a nutshell, it just means where all of our energy is stored. I don't know how people know this stuff. I don't even know where people get the data from all this, but the Akashic Records are basically I guess it's data and information where, there have been quantum physical and electromagnetic documentations of events. And even you can look into what I'm about to post below in the description box. That will be a form of Akashic Records, because Chinese historians and researchers have found document and ancient texts that point to the description of Jesus the man and who he was. Bum, bum, bum. Bink. So I'm going to go back and forth. So in my dream, the last part of my dream, this image showed up. Can you guys see that? Oh, there we go. So what you see here is there's a sun in the foreground. Obviously there's another something in front, allegedly. And you see these pillars of light shooting out three sides because we can't see the fourth. This is what makes the shape of a cross. So when this thing covered the sun, the pillars of light shot right out of it. I don't know if it was the object or the sun, but it was just an ongoing flow of light. And as soon as the light was over, you saw this black thing and the sun was covered. And then after so time it went on, sorry for the shakiness, the sun had a rebirth or something like that. It was like a new sun that came out of nowhere. So I think that's quite fascinating. I'm trying to go to my job and there's this air show, and I forgot I have to go the back way, not the front way, because I will get stuck in traffic. So long story short, going to this text of what the Chinese had discovered. Really, dash cam, you want to fall off while I'm giving this message. Alright, so long story short, they said that it has document of describing this wonderful man who had this wonderful knowledge, and he was the bearer of all sins of all people of all time. He was the one who took it all for everyone. And it talked about the day that he was hung from a tree. A lot of people say crucifixion. He was nailed on a cross, but he was hung from a tree, which is why in Black history you see in the past why slaves were hung from trees. It was supposed to be a jab, because allegedly Jesus was golden, he was brown, he was you know, if you're a light-skinned person and you traveled all over the world and you didn't have a home, you were just outdoors, you were doing your work, you're going to be brown. Logically. But cutting this very short, they described his last days as a dark eclipse, a shadow casted over the sun. And then after the shadow casted over the sun, they said for 3 hours there was a shadow there. And all this cataclysm and destruction came about on the land. Well, people already know 3 days of darkness. Days in biblical text means hours, if you didn't know that. So when they talk about 3 days of darkness, I believe it's going to be technically 3 hours. Did you guys know that? Here's a little food for thought. Did you know 3 hours traveling through a black hole is equivalent to 7 years? So that was like my ooh moment. I discovered that the other day. 3 hours traveling through a black hole is equivalent to 7 years. So, of course, like our Gregorian structure is off. Anyways. And then they said after the 3 hours went by and the darkness had surfaced, they said that a large rainbow ring appeared around the sun. And that was when he resurrected out of his tomb and he ascended. So do you guys kind of get the event is the same exact way? So there's the way that we are receiving the event. It's either we are seeing the past or we're seeing the future, but it's exactly how Jesus ascended. It's the same description. It's the same everything. Same details. It will be no different. Except there will be multiple different ways of exits. But I got that there were 4 different exits. This was in the past before I started my YouTube videos. But I want to leave you guys to that. Check out the video below, and I will talk to you all later. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.